Rise 106.7, positively different.
Can't hear me.
All right, it's another beautiful, exciting day, Tuesday, the 28th of May 2019. A very good morning to you. Welcome to yet another edition or episode of the Rize Oratory Competition Season 2. It is day 2 and we are here live and we are ready. Yesterday we had a great time right here as the Season 2 kick-started, and we had 3 schools that were actually drawn in the Pot A yesterday, but unfortunately we had just 2 schools represented, and we had Nana Model College and Warri College, and they have both qualified to the next stage. And today we are back here again for the second day, and today we have schools drawn in the second pot, that is the Pot B, and we have right here today the students of AC College 2 and also students of Institute of Continuous Education, ICE, and then we have students from the Robo College, which are all drawn in Pot B. And today they will be delivering wonderful speeches on the topic of discussion. On that note, I welcome you specially, you that is listening and you that is watching live on our Facebook page. I welcome you specially to the second day of the Rize Oratory Competition Season 2. Nkechi Adiele is my name, and I will be your moderator for today. And need I say, we have our wonderful judges, our amiable judges also that are live in the studio as well. And I would love to welcome them specially once again. With us in the studio, we have Mrs. Chinwe Dada. She is the CEO, Lizane Kiddies, my mother care shop, and also a children enthusiast and also a speech lover. We also have in the studio our second judge for today, in the person of Dr. Stephen Kekege. He is of the Department of English, College of Education, Warri. It's good to have you in the studio once again, sir and ma. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we are all ready for today. We have our students all looking set and ready for the competition for today. All right, children, if you're excited to be here, come on, put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you very much. And also, before I go further to give the rules of the game, because you know this is a competition and every competition always has rules, and I will go ahead to give the rules of this competition in case you are not aware, probably have forgotten. Now, each speaker, I guess there are 2 speakers. The first speaker, that is the main speaker, has a total of 5 minutes for your presentation. And at the 4th minute, the bell will give the warning sign. So you will hear that warning sign is for you to begin to round up, so that you can complete your 5 minutes. And then the supporting speaker, that is the second speaker, has a total of 3 minutes for your presentation. At the 2nd minute, you will hear the same warning bell sign, and after that, you will be required to round up your presentation to complete your 3 minutes presentation. Okay, and I also want to, enlighten you more on what your scorecard would be like. Okay, you will be judged on some major principles and items. I would say you will be judged first on your dressing. You will be judged on your concord and pronunciation. You will also be judged by your delivery. You will also be judged by your content, your time management, and your composure. So these are the criteria for your results score today, and you have to see how you can work around these items I've mentioned. All right, are we good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, taking the front stage, we have we have AC College 2 that will be starting off on the program today. And don't also forget, the topic of the competition remains the effects of insecurity on the education system here in Nigeria, and you will be speaking on the same topic. So taking the front stage now, we will make welcome the student Ogboru Ogenegari, representing AC College 2 as the main speaker.
name is Warri, and I'm a student of AC College 2, Warri. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Organizing Committee, Rize FM Oratory Competition, impeccable panel of judges, respected parents and teachers present, and of course, distinguished listeners at home. Thank you so much for giving me this privilege in the studio today to talk on the effects of insecurity on the education of the Nigerian child. But before I dive into this discussion, it is important that we first x-ray what insecurity is all about. Insecurity has to do with uncertainty, fear, and anxiety of what the future holds. It is the feeling of exposure to danger and threat due to cultism, unemployment, terrorism, and insurgencies, or otherwise. Now, let us go deeply into x-raying the effects of insecurity on the education of the Nigerian child. Firstly, insecurity has created a climate of fear. In any education system, peace and tranquility is an antidote for successful teaching and learning. However, due to uprising insurgencies in our country, one can rightly conclude that yes, education is good, but our level of insecurity is intolerable. Hundreds of students have been used as human bombs. About 1,500 schools have been destroyed by fire and bomb explosions. About 2,300 teachers have been killed, 19,000 displaced, not to mention thousands of students wounded and killed. All these are acts of insurgencies perpetrated by the Boko Haram and their cohorts who view education as a sin and are fighting frantically to eradicate Western education. These crises have caused citizens of Nigeria, especially the Nigerian child, to be constantly bedeviled by fear of attack by one extremist group or the other. Hostage taking, bomb explosions, and violent crimes are now becoming part of the daily life of the Nigerian child. This poses a great danger as this fear can cripple the minds of the child, leaving victimized and vengeful children who feel endangered and uncertain of what the future holds for them. Also, due to the current peril, the number of school enrollments, especially in affected areas, have dwindled considerably by 28% more than other regions of this country. Survey by both the print and electronic media has revealed that over 85% of school children in Borno State are no longer attending school. Also, dropouts of schools in the Damaturu metropolis of Yobe is on the increase daily due to the rate of insecurity in both states. It is crucial to note that regular school attendance is of great importance to the education and development of school children in any country. Children are no longer attending schools because they believe that they are no longer safe in the incompetent hands of the authorities. And worthy to note is that since these children are not attending school, it creates a great implication on the future of this country as the children are the leaders of tomorrow. The fate of the Nigerian child, especially in the north, is in great jeopardy and needs serious attention. The future of this country seems grim if children can't even attend school freely due to the rate of insurmountable crisis and insecurity. Again, insecurity has successfully heightened the barriers to education on the girl child. Naturally, girls have more limited access to education and are typically the first to be pulled out of school at the presence of any vulnerability. Now, we can observe that over hundreds of female students have been kidnapped in their various hostels on their way to and from school. Female teenage hostages are becoming transformed into suicide bombers, ranging from the abduction of over 200 Chibok girls to the 110 Dapchi female students, to mention but a few. The insecurity tells more on the girl child since they are the soft targets of constant abductions. Parents are now afraid and forced to keep their daughters away from school for their own safety, and this, believe it or not, has disproportionately affected the girl child education. With all this said and done, I believe we can all agree that insecurity is a menace and needs to be treated fast to take accurate action and keep this country in check. However, it is important to note that insecurity, as bad as it may be, we can offer and proffer some solutions to it. Firstly, parents and students should be more alert and secure themselves against impending dangers. Also, strict surveillance and trained security personnel should be stationed in every school and be well equipped with weapons so as to fight against this terror. And lastly, children, parents, and the government should collaborate with school authorities so as to make the Nigerian child feel more secure by putting in place preventive and policing measures, and with the grace of God, making this country more secure for both the Nigerian child and other citizens of this country to attend school freely and make this country great. Thank you.
One more time, a round of applause for Organic Gary Oboru. Round of applause for her. That was wonderful. Alright, in case you are just tuning in, this is Rize 106.7 FM, and it's the second day of the Rize Oratory Competition Season 2 that started yesterday. And we just heard a student from SC College 2. Don't forget, you can also watch us live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Rize FM Radio. Make sure you go there to our Facebook page and watch what is going on right here, so you see how the students are doing what they know how to do. All right, without further ado, let us quickly welcome the second speaker from SC College 2, the person of Efele Blessing. Remember, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Efele Blessing. I'm a grade student of SC College 2, Warri. Good day, Mr. Chairman, Planning Committee, Rize FM Oratory Competition, panel of impeccable judges, beloved parents, distinguished listeners at home. Thank you so much for giving me this great privilege in the studio to talk on the effects of insecurity on the education of a Nigerian child. According to the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, insecurity simply is uncertainty, anxiety about oneself, which is lack of confidence, or the state of being open to danger or threats, which is lack of protection. Education simply is the process of learning, teaching, and training, especially in school and colleges, to improve knowledge and develop skills. Insecurity today has challenged the Nigerian child greatly in easier education. It has had a negative impact in their life and education, therefore leading to stressful studies, poor school attendance, vandalization of school buildings, and eventually production of half-baked graduates. The current issue of Nigerian society, of which school belongs to, is insecurity. It is not peculiar to just Nigeria, but to other civilized countries, such as the UK and USA, also face the same problem. The difference between these countries and Nigeria is how they manage insecurity and how best they use intelligent reports to deploy measures that can counter the problem we're having in our educational sector precisely. The average Nigerian child has a sense of reckoning to what he or she aspires to be in the nearest future. Sincere Nigerian students will be seriously deficient in easier education, within their learning capabilities as a result of the insecurity happenings. Take a close look at the schools in the northern part of this country. A lot of children, especially the girl child, no longer want to go to school, except for the Quranic school where they are taught to recite and memorize Quran, but not literacy, numeracy, and life skill needed to function effectively in today's world. Apart from the insurgency possesses to a Nigerian child, our family terminal also has a great part to play in the life of these children. I would love to plead with their guidance and parents to help these children or benefactors to exercise full potentials. Remember we said earlier the effects of insecurity, which are poor school attendance, vandalization of school buildings, production of half-baked graduates. All this can be as a result of an unsettled home. I would also love to use this medium to thank our armed forces for the great job they've been doing in this country. But I would also want to suggest that if our armed forces can work harder towards insecurity, then I'm sure Nigeria can be a great, safe, and well-mannered place for education. Thank you.
All right, you can do better. Another round of applause for the lesson. And now the campus speech. I told you the students, they came ready. So, I mean, there's actually no dull moment in any form. All right, this is still the season 2 of the Rize Oratory Competition, proudly sponsored by Rize FM 106.7 and Ascertain Integrated Nigeria Limited. So we just heard the first school, it's the College 2. They have given their speech on the topic, the effects of insecurity on the Nigerian child. We're moving over now to the second school represented here today, ICE, the Institute of Continuous Education. And we will be welcoming the first speaker in the person of Asuwame Victory to come and grace the stage.
Good day, members of the ICE table. My name is Vishaya Suwame. I'm a student of Institute of Continuing Education, Warri, Delta State. I'm here to talk on effect effect of insecurity on the education of a Nigerian child. Insecurity is a state of feeling of lack of confidence or anxiety about oneself. In Nigeria, as we get various potholes in insecurity, which has made it difficult. Some of these causes are bad government, illiteracy among youth, unemployment, Nigeria porous border, and drug abuse. However, photos emulate that insecurity have affected education of a child, and these are resulted to cause of insecurity. Examples are bad government, fear of being attacked in school, and poor performance of class. With this, the rate at which students are being kidnapped, killed, and even raped is on an increase. Firstly, of the 10.5 million children in Nigeria who are out of school, 60% are in the north. The primary target of Boko Haram brutality is against this Western education. This has affected parents directly and indirectly. Directly in the sense that parents whose children have been kidnapped has been psychologically affected and would not want the rest of their children to go to school in that same vicinity or not talk about that same school. Indirectly, it has caused fear in the hearts of parents. We still see resistance of not sending these children to school. April 2014, about 300 students were kidnapped in Chibok Government College and leaving the Another scenario that took place February 29, 2016, 3 students were kidnapped at Babiti Macaulay Junior Seminary, a school in the outskirts of Lagos. Even universities, strikes, riots has become the order of the day, pushing students into prostitution, cultism, and all sorts of criminal activities. I would therefore suggest that government should be solidly be involved in issues raising insecurity from schools. Secondly, that the leaders of this school should try and create more protective measures to ensure that the school is a secure place for learning. Thirdly, the government should try and fulfill those promises made to the educational sector. With this, I believe that even though insecurity cannot be erased completely, but can be prevented or guided. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Asuame Victory. We'll now bring up to the microphone the second and supporting speaker in the person of Ego Angel.
Good day, members of the ITV. My name is Ego Angel. I am a student of Institute of Continuing Education, Warri, Delta State. I'm here to talk on the topic, effects of insecurity of the Nigerian child. Insecurity can be defined as a feeling of uncertainty and lack of confidence or anxiety about oneself. There has been a lot of worry over insecurity in the country and its effect on the school. Some causes of insecurity are cultism, communal clashes, traditional beliefs, Boko Haram crisis, and other social crimes. The above causes of insecurity has affected the education of Nigeria children in great deal. In the southern part of Nigeria, cultism has become the order of the day, where children engage in fighting, bullying each other, and destroying school facilities, which results in the destruction of academic calendar, fall of educational standard, and low academic performance. In the northern part of Nigeria, terrorists set attacks on innocent people, which usually send these innocent people to the hospital and more to their early graves. Most of these innocent victims are school-aged children, which are supposed to be in school but are out of school due to insecurity problems. These insecurity problems have really affected the performance of children in school and parents' willingness to allow their children to study. It has also rendered school heads helpless, and unable to guarantee the safety and security of the teachers, students, and other school staff placed under his or her care. Some ways of reducing insecurity in Nigeria are: government should provide more safe and secure grants for educational system. Programs should be held to help clear some certain traditional beliefs. Government should provide more better educational facilities. If government will be able to provide the above and more orders, Nigeria will become a more safe and secure place for educational system. Thank you.
One more time, put your hands together for Igor Fletcher. That was a beautiful one. A round of applause to each and every one of you. I mean, you all have been doing so well. Alright, we are still in progress, and we are about to bring to the microphone the third school represented here today. But don't forget, you can go to our Facebook page and watch us live in the studios of Rize 106.7 FM. It still remains facebook.com/Rize FM Radio. And this competition has been held live in the studios of Rize 106.7 FM in commemoration of this year's Children's Day, which was actually yesterday, and this competition started yesterday. Okay, to take us further, I would love to bring to the microphone the third school represented today, and it is Robo Model College. And to take us to lead us on this, I would love to bring to the microphone Umel Gwanu Chiamaka as the first speaker.
Armed robbery, corruption, extrajudicial killing, gender-based violence, economic-based violence, organized violence, banditry, farmers and herdsmen clash, and to top it all, the Boko Haram menace. All these are the various forms of insecurity in Nigeria. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chiamaka Esther Mogonu, and I'm a student of the Great Robo Model College, and I am in SS2. I feel highly honored and indeed on top of the world to be given the opportunity to speak on the effects of insecurity on the education of a Nigerian child. First of all, I would like every one of us present here to know what is meant by security before going further. Security, in my own understanding, can be defined as a state of being safe, free from danger, harm, threat, etc. While insecurity is the direct opposite of security, but we should know that there is no agreed definition to what is precisely insecurity. But there is a general belief that it has to do with the state of being open to danger, threat, harm, lack of protection, vulnerability, uncertainty, etc. The insecurity has never been this high and bad in the history of Nigeria after the Civil War in the 60s. The effects of insecurity cannot be overemphasized in the sense that it has brought about a negative, terrible, and devastating effect on the education of a Nigerian child. Insecurity has posed a great threat to the education of a child. Whenever there is problem in any state or community, it brings about breakdown of law and order. And guess what? The children are always the ones being affected. The rate at which children are dropping out of school, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, is quite alarming. Having pondered over this issue, it is high time the government rise decisively and take absolute care before it is too late. As a young girl growing up, I sometimes ask myself, what does the future have in stock for the future generation? What does it have in stock for the leaders of tomorrow and for the growing children? From the history I read about, I was made to understand that the 3 years of civil war deprived the children of the eastern region the opportunity of going to school. Children are no longer interested in going to school, especially those of the northern part of Nigeria, due to the activities of both Boko Haram and bandits. Most recently, bandits have reared their ugly heads in states like Zamfara, thereby taking over their communities, and the children are the ones always being affected. We also have the case of Boko Haram. The Chibok girls, if you remember, the Chibok girls, over 200 of them were being kidnapped from their schools. And this was being carried out by the terrorists, by the criminal element, which goes by the name Boko Haram. They believe that Western education is an abomination and should therefore be abolished. But should it be like that? We cannot remember the the famous OD crisis, which was carried out in the regime of our former president, President Obasanjo, whereby militants were being sent to OD community, and for so many months, schools were closed down. The rate at which children are dropping out of school is very alarming. We can also see poverty as another effect, in the sense that due to this constant attack by this terrorist group, it brings about poverty. Parents with children of school age won't be able to sponsor the education of their child, and so therefore live in IDP camp under the mercy of the government, due to the fact that their means of livelihood have been destroyed by the raid of this terrorist group. From the examples given, I hope I've been able to convince you and every one of our viewers that insecurity is more of a serious hazard to the education of a Nigerian child, to the society and to the nation at large, and should therefore be tackled before it is too late. Thank you.
All right, one more time, put your hands together for Omoegwanu Chiamaka of the Robo Model College, our main speaker from the school. And quickly, without wasting further time, I will bring to the microphone the second speaker in the person of Okonoro Daniel. Please put your hands together for him.
Good evening, associates, my moderators, my accurate timekeeper. I feel so honored to stand here before you to speak on the topic, the effects of insecurity on the education of Nigeria's child. Before I move further, I would like to let you guys know what is the meaning of the word security. Security is the act of feeling safe, feeling covered, and under the act of being protected. Now, what is insecurity? Insecurity is simply defined as the lack of protection, anxiety, lack of confidence, so on and so forth. Everywhere around Nigeria, we do see insecurity. Most especially here in our local government area. We do see a lot of bombastic things, like we see when the 2019 election progressed, we see how terrorism was being taken out, armed robbery, so on and so forth. Now, what are the effects of insecurity? The effects of insecurity brings about the deduction of the enrollment of school. That is to say that the children entering into school are now deducted because they now feel that they are not safe going to school. Due to we all heard how the Dashi girls were being kidnapped when they were preparing for their WAEC. Even in the year 2014, our girls were being adopted in their schools in Lagos State. Now, bringing all these things, we now see that the children are now afraid to even attend school. Now, another effect is that we do have the increase in dropouts of school. When we heard about Boko Haram's bandits and so on and so forth, we do see that children are now afraid to even attend school because they now have psychological effects, bringing about sleep disorder, so on and so forth. We do see that people now are now afraid to even move around. That is to say, education, they say, is a right. The government should strive harder to protect the education of young children. According to Deborah Winger, the most bad attitudes come from insecurity. That is, the government should strive harder to protect the children because the effects of insecurity do not only go to those who believe in it, but comes to those who are educated. Thank you.
Wow. After all said and done, one more time, put your hands together for this one. And the last speaker who just spoke, the corner of Daniel, the only man amongst women. Well, that was beautiful. All right, if you have truly been overwhelmed by the oratory prowess of these young ones, one more time, put your hands together for each and every one of them. They have done marvelously well. But as you all know, this is a competition, and we have our amiable judges. They have been working so hard. I know this is going to be a tough one, but I believe they know exactly what to do. Before we move on to get the results, I would love our judges to speak on the different schools and what they have observed so far. I'll first of all call on our first judge in the person of Mrs. Chinwe Dada. She is the CEO, Lizane Kiddies and Mothercare Shop. Please put your hands together for her as she talks on what she has observed so far.
Thank you. It's been really interesting. Been listening to all the children, and I'm marveled at their command of English, their comportment, and like you said, Nkechi, it's more of girls running the show today.
Telling you,
and that makes me very happy that girls are stepping forward. We're looking forward to one of them as president soon. I would just want to comment that as you have all done so well, I want you to be mindful of the way you pronounce words. Don't be too interested in speaking with an accent. You're a Nigerian, you don't have to talk like an American. Pronounce the word insecurity, not insecurity. Okay? Pronounce your words honor, not honor. Have. I noticed there were some, and I think it's because some of the speakers were spending too much time trying to talk in a certain way. You can talk like a Nigerian, just talk clearly and pronounce your words, more clearly. But overall, they did quite well. Well done.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. All right, so I would also love to call on Dr. Stephen Kekega. He is a lecturer of the Department of English, College of Education. Sir, what have you observed so far?
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed the presentation overall. I enjoyed the presentation just like yesterday, but today is much more thrilling. Something somehow invigorating. Means there is hope for us. Just as my colleague said, there are some observations. Yes, we should strive for appropriateness in pronunciation, what we call the received pronunciation. We must not use the Nigerian phonetics, but even if as we strive for appropriateness, we shouldn't be artificial, unnecessarily artificial. As you made reference to security, I think I heard that from a student. Apart from that, there are certain misuse of consonant items. Like when a student in C college say child, education, it's child, education. A number of them like that. That's bastardization of sound. So all of this should be put into consideration. And again, sometimes I was going to be gender sensitive. She tried to privilege it. I'm not going to privilege it.
It's happening.
Yes, she's
the future is bright for the women.
She's privileging it, but I am not.
Okay.
But the young man that spoke, he spoke fine too. But he's the only man among them. You see that we should not be unnecessarily too gender sensitive. The women here are already taking a good position in society. All of these gender movements, womanism, feminism, modernism, and the rest, I interrogate them. We should try to be less gender sensitive. We should be more human. Women occupy good positions in society. We should privilege that. More personism. You are a person and you are what the position. That's all. Personism. That is a gender theory. So I feel they are all very good, vibrant young people. They give me hope at tomorrow. I think they are healing our wounded words. I used that same phrase yesterday. Thank you. I thank you very much. These are some of the observations we got. And we'll sum up and get the average. But maybe I should say this before we come up finally with the result. I see college student. There's a level of deficiency I observed, and so I'm sending this signal, not just to the students but to the teachers. A lot of deficiency I observed from their performance. The English teachers will do better. They should do better. From my own observation, their students, they mean well. They want to be productive, and I think that's why they are here. But I feel that in their language, their utterance, the language texture, concord, tenses, they have to do better than this. I'm saying this not to demote them, but I'm saying this as a signal I'm sending to redeem them from society. I don't know if my colleague has the same observation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Stephen Kekege. We really appreciate all the observations you've made so far, and also to you, Mrs. Chinwe Dada. Like as the saying goes, or like the Bible rightly said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. We have all been overwhelmed by the oratory prowess of these young ones, and as every competition, there's always a winner, and there's always one person that would have to go home. And today, one school will be ending the show today, but we will leave that for the judges to decide which of the schools will be going home and which schools will be progressing to the next round. On that note, we'll have to take a short break here, but don't forget you're still listening to Rize 106.7 FM, and this is the season 2 of the Rize Oratory Competition, proudly sponsored by Rize FM 106.7 and Essendon Integrated Nigeria Limited.